Last Thursday, I woke up to a very pretty sunrise here in Manila, but I jumped on a flight to one of my favorite cities, Shanghai, for a very food-focused long Easter and tube-sweeping weekend. It was the cherry blossom season, so I went exploring some of the local park areas. The spring is definitely on the way with a lot of beautiful flowers lining all the streets here. When I was walking around in the alleys, I actually found an old church that I've never seen before, but it definitely reminds me that there are a lot of areas in this city that's always something new to see when you're walking around. After living in Shanghai a decade ago, it's absolutely one of my favorite places and very close to my heart, and I always enjoy to see the very dynamic areas ranging from modern high-rises to parks and old alleys. And sometimes you almost see it the best when you're actually driving at night in the car, above or through the car window. There's a special charm with a mix of old, busy streets, but also new coffee shops and restaurants popping up everywhere. And there's always something interesting to see in terms of all the pastries and flavors that you can see everywhere to attract the new customers. However, some things seem to stay around, like the famous Hunan restaurant, the Shui Dong. I decided to swing by to sample the classics. My favorite is the ribs, but also the cauliflower dry pot, the garlic sprouts with bacon, but also basic cucumber garlic salad, beans with chili, pickled vegetables with meat, but also cabbage and bamboo together with noodles. Always a huge feast. But to digest all of that, it's always cozy to walk around outside downtown and see all the busy streets and lively neighborhoods, and even some of the cherry blossoms from before. We also explored a nearby bar street in the rain with some cool drinks. Definitely not something I do too often these days, but always fun to see a lot of people out here socializing on the weekend. Then we actually went to another old classic another day, a Yunnan one called the Southern Barbarian, which is some pretty exotic options here on the menu, but we skipped those ones. I still remember it from 10 years ago, but we went for some local tasty dishes like mint leaves, very crispy with different types of meats, but also a roasted fish, ribs, fried potatoes, and a few other really cool dishes. Then one of the other evenings we had a massive social dinner to celebrate the Tombsweeping Festival. One of the best things here in China is to share a mix of dishes so that everyone can enjoy what they like. But for me the highlights this evening were the lamb rack, also the braised pork belly, but beef ribs as well, and also very tasty fish, shrimp, even some crab. We had some taro and dry pot with veggies and potatoes. And of course a lot of veggies to top it off, as well as some local specialties like the soup jiaozi. But to round off these trips, I always like to mix in some Western brunches as well. And there is a lot of different options, a whole overload of different dishes you can pick. I try to focus on the protein, but also nice things like sourdough, otherwise can be a bit trickier to find here in Asia. So I'm sure there's something to pick for everyone here when you're staying over in Shanghai. New restaurants are opening all the time. But since I'm in China after all, you have to try the local snacks. Not the healthiest, but something I have a hard time to stay away from. Everything from crispy, Bing and other options here when you're walking around the streets, and also the local noodles. So all in all, a very food-focused weekend, but I'm leaving satisfied and certainly very, very full.